All right, Internet, how the heck are you? All right, after the last great super glue incident of 2020, we got the mat out. I got some super glue on the desk too after all that. So, but I think most of it's off my hands. It might have actually like burned technically a little bit. I don't know what happened. Losing a little bit of skin there, but that's right. What are you gonna do? Anywho, so what are we gonna do today? I'm actually not even 100% sure as I sit here and do this. I'm got some green stuff ready. Um, what am I gonna do? I guess we're going to. I wanted to actually build the other hand. Now that I think about it, where's my plastic glue? Right here. I wanted to build the last hand. I realized I didn't build the club or the hand for the War Stomper, so we're gonna do that. And then a little bit of green stuff and stuff. I was thinking the War Stomper. I didn't realize. I forgot that his hand. He had an open hand, so I might try to make this fit in that hand in some way. So he's like carrying a hand, or at least maybe make that like spec be magnetized in. So we're gonna have to do that, and then yeah, we'll see where the rest of this is. So let's pull the War Stomper sheet out here, just so we know what we're working with. Back to the instructions, Internet. Oh, and then I got to do. I actually want to do the waste stuff around here, so maybe we won't green stuff tonight. I got all the green stuff ready. Put all this over here, but we will need you. Get the plastic glue out. So there's a little more hanging out, a little building. So the club is 49, 50. And which ones are these? 49. So that's this one. Well, that's a big. Look how large that chunk is. It's on there. I've adjusted my seat position and the camera, so hopefully I'll be more in frame for you more often. Because I realized in the last video I was definitely out of frame a bit, and that bothers me. I don't like being out of frame. I don't like that. All right, so that's 49. We're gonna need this. This is part of it for sure. Snip, snip. Snip, snip. All right. Here's the other half. 53. Snip, snip, snip. And then 50. Yep. This little thumb thing here. Snip. All right. Oh, this is like the an iron golem. I didn't even notice. Wonder what that goes to. Y'all like them iron golems? How about them iron golems? What is that? Some sort of lizard man? Cold one? Chunk of flesh? Anywho, anything else from that? No, I'm pretty sure this and this is going to be the other hand, so let's clip those out while we're here. So we'll put you there. Put you there, clip you. Clip you, all right. And then, dun, 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 dun. And then this sprue is pretty much wiped clean. There's a few bits on there. All right, there's the rest of the club. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. I'm trying to watch some battle reports of these Sons of Behemat. And they're kind of hit or miss. For the most part, they actually seem to be doing better than I thought they would. Now, the battle reports that are out there, there's not a ton. They're not like super competitive, aggressive lists on either side. I mean, I guess they're just really what the Sons of Behemat are going to be, but... Oh, what is this? A little tiny piece of hair goes to Broseph here? Probably. But it seems like they attrition rather well. So, you know, certain armies are going to like wipe the floor with them, right? If you can kill 2 Mega Gargants in a turn, you're not going to be having a great time. But, oh, that goes on there. Did we put that on? Yes, we did put that on. It seems like they, yeah, so what I was saying, it seems like they attrition rather well. Like if you leave a Mega Gargant until late game, they can really start making it a problem if your opponent doesn't have a lot left to do with it. So, they have Stormcast stuff for their Knuckle armor. Alright, let's cut that back out. So it's been kind of promising. I'm not too worried about it being like competitive. But at the same time, like it's no fun to just like get demolished. I had a Troggoth list, an army that I was running, but I didn't actually find them all that fun to play. Where I feel like this is going to be a lot more fun to play, but I don't feel like they just didn't really compete that well. So when you're not able to, not necessarily be competitive, but when you're just not able to like win, when there's nothing there, it's not like, oh, the dice got lucky or I didn't play properly. It's like I played properly and the dice were in my favor and I still lost. Like that's disappointing, right? That's what I don't enjoy. I don't mind losing a game where, I didn't play properly. Where's the other one? It's on these sprues somewhere, internet. Right, there's two of them. I'll tell you one thing about this kit. The pieces are all over the place. Like, normally, most kits, it's like, oh, if there's a leg that you have to build and it's made of 3 parts, they might not necessarily always be next to each other, but all 3 parts are generally on the same sprue. But there have been a couple pieces, like, I don't know where I just cut the other one off of. I don't think it was on this sprue, but here's the other one on this sprue. Like, and a certain part of the arm is on another sprue. Like, I get that it's a big kit and they're the pieces are pretty big, but I don't see any reason why they really had to split them up. I mean, obviously there's a lot of pieces. If I had to try to organize it, I'm sure I would run into maybe the same issues that they did, but it just seems kind of like more difficult than it needs to be to build, so. Well, we'll clean that up after. I'm not in the mood for that. I'm not in the mood for that right now, internet. I just kind of want to glue some stuff together. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I almost didn't want to record anything, but I didn't record anything yesterday, so. So that's going to go together like that, but first we got to put these two together. Let's check and see how cleaning up is going to be. Can we bring this up like this? All right, so how's cleaning this going to be? I can clean all of this that I've seen so far, and none of the little clippy bits are going to interfere with it gluing together. So I don't really need to clean this until I glue it. So we're going to glue it together. Sometimes, especially early in a project, I clean the mold lines off before I glue things together. Some of them it's easier to do. But realistically, you're a lot better off probably 90% of the time just assembling it and then cleaning, because there'll be certain parts that you're not going to see, and then you just don't have to worry about cleaning those. And they also look more obvious when you're putting it together and it's in your hand than when it's finished and fully painted. Like once it's painted, you might even see it while you're painting it, but there's so much that the paint does to obscure, some detail, like in a good way, right? Like you're not going to easily see mold lines until you go to take like really up close pictures for the internet, right? That's when you can really see the mold lines. But on the tabletop and in person, that stuff is not as prevalent. So don't feel like you gotta clean them all off. It sort of depends on what mood you're in. And most of the time, I do not like cleaning. That's probably my least favorite thing, is like scraping mold lines and cleaning up models. But sometimes if it's like a big flat area and it's really easy to clean, it's kind of satisfying to clean off mold lines, right? I'm sure I can't be the only one. But yeah, it's got to be my least favorite part of the hobby. So, am I alone? Am I alone in that? Anybody want to let me know in the comments down below? I appreciate the comments that I've been getting. I'm not expecting this to be like 1 million views or anything crazy like that, but it's nice to know that there's some people out there appreciating it. So thanks if you're watching. Thanks if you're commenting. If you're watching and not commenting, feel free to comment. If you're commenting and not watching, I don't know how that works. All right, we're going to clean this one off just a little bit. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could get my little seam scraper in there. Get my seam scraper in there. And then the rest of it should be fine. I just can't be bothered. Can't be bothered, internet. Oh, this has got to go. See, this is going to be where it glues together, so this one's got to go now. Get out of there. You get up here and look at what you've done. I the infamous Oregon turkey pocket. I'm sure nobody's seen it but me. It's like a really obscure video on the internet, but if you have a minute, look up something called Maximum Crossbow. Now, it's probably more funny to me because it's nostalgic, and it was like way back early in the days of the internet, like downloading things on like LimeWire and stuff like that. I have no idea how I found it, but might have been on E-Bombs World or something, right? I don't know how old that makes me if I referenced E-Bombs World. But just cleaning off these ones that are sort of going to be under the chain, because those will be a pain under the chain. It's hard to maintain. Anyway, okay, so let's check. This goes together next. Oh, I got to cut out some rope to go around this too. Man, that super glue incident, man, that was wild, huh? Getting super glue all over my stuff. Not cool. Not cool, man. Alright, so remember what we did before? We're getting super glue on there nice and even, but I'm really trying to make sure I get it on this outside edge so that hopefully just a little bit of super glue squeezes out. And then once that dries, I can shave that off to make a nice, smooth, seamless transition. So, I mean, this has got some other funky stuff around it, so you're not going to see it on a bunch of it. But all right, that's together. Really squeeze it, make sure if there's anything in there, we squeeze it out. And then we'll put this on. All right, which way does that go? Like that? I think like that. Surely it doesn't fit like that. Yep, like that. When there's little pieces like that where I cut the sprue, where the sprue was like on the seam that you're going to be gluing, I like to put a little extra glue there, and I like to start there as well, because if we give that just a second to soften up, if there is anything sort of bumping up, keeping it from really going flush, like these kits go together so smooth. Like, say what you want, it's about the price, but like the quality is there. They go together so smooth that if there is anything sticking out, you're going to know, because it's not going to fit together properly. But if you get a little bit of that glue on there, look at that. Look at the attention. Look at the detail in this. Let's just admire it. Like a little piece of frayed rope. That was extra effort. You didn't have to do that, but they did. I appreciate that. A man who appreciates quality internet. I have definitely spent a lot of money on some things. Like, there have been things in my life where I was like, man, that was a lot of money for that. But I've never been disappointed in spending a lot of money on something. Like, the quality is always there. I can't think of an example where I was like, man, that was a lot of money and wasn't worth it. Like, maybe I could have been better off with something cheaper and had like 90% of the experience. Like, oh, I've bought cheap things and they've been great and probably been, as good or close to something that costs more. But I've definitely bought cheap things and regretted, like, man, I shouldn't have bought that. That was a waste of money. But I've never felt that about something, expensive from like a quality standpoint, All right, let's see here. We're definitely going to want to clean this off, but let's just see how this goes. So this is a pretty cool looking club. I like this a heck of a lot more than this stupid thing. I don't know what it is about this, but like just jamming a bunch of stuff on something just doesn't do it for me. But this is much simpler. Oh yeah, we got to get the rope around there. All right, so you're going to go like so. So you're going to go somewhere around here. Well, we'll see. The thumb goes right here, so that'll tell us. So if the thumb goes there, then the rest of this goes like meow. I love these hands, man. I love the big chunky hands, the big over the top stuff. That's why we had to switch the hands and the feet on the bone grinder, right? A lot of people were impressed. I went in there and just did what I did that thing. But like, here's the reality. And I've said it in some of the comments, but if you're not happy with the way it looks anyway, then like, what's the point? Am I just going to have something that I don't appreciate? Like, that's not why I'm into this hobby. I don't buy models that I'm not more or less 100% enthralled about. I guess I shouldn't say it that way, because I bought the bone grinder. And, obviously I'm not 100% with him and the way the model was. But especially at the time when I got it, it was just like the biggest, baddest dude. And I mean, obviously, it's still bigger than the Mega Gargants we got, so it's still a big beast. But um, like if you're not satisfied with it, don't be afraid to go in there and get it done. Um, and again, that might not be how you want to start that experience, right? You might want to start that with something a little smaller just to build confidence. Um, but the reality is, like, even if you do a terrible, like, literally, even if I didn't do anything else to this, if I just left this as is and painted it with this like hot glue mess and this thing uneven, once it's like on the table, it would still look fine. It wouldn't look that ridiculous, right? Like we want to take it up that next level and make it really sweet. But you could leave it like this or just do some really poor green stuff and still not be bad. Like if you see some of the conversions that are out there that people do on the internet, nothing against them, but they put some stuff up and it's just like, man, either you didn't try or you don't have the skill. But either way, once it's finished, once it's primed, once it's painted, it's not half bad. And those are like the photos on the internet. When you see it in person, it looks even better, right? Like you try to take a good picture of a miniature. Anybody that's in this hobby will know that you try to take a good picture of a miniature, and it just is so hard to get like a good picture because you're either not getting it at the right angle or it's not coming out and looking as good as it looks in person, right? When you're looking at it in person, it just looks so much better, and it's hard to really capture that. And then on top of that, the photos and camera phones these days, the detail's so good that you're getting in there and you're seeing all the imperfections and what looks almost like a seamless blend or a really good dry brush looks kind of dirty and doesn't look that clean because you're blowing it up, you're zooming in on it. So when you're doing those photos, so I don't even know where I was going with that. I just started talking internet, but I'll go back and edit this and be like, yeah, there was a point I wanted to make there. Oh, but yeah, so when you're like, going to convert something, if your skill and stuff isn't there, don't worry about it. It's still gonna be not half bad. So let's just clean that out because that's gonna be annoying. Okay, so let's just dry fit it, check the fit. So this is gonna go here, like meow. And this is going to go meow. So this is going to go meow. So what is part of the hand is going to be in there? Just about the entire inside. So we're not going to like completely glue all of it, but let's glue like here. And then we're going to glue, I should have done the thumb first. Yeah, let's finish the thumb. We're going to do this here. And then that's going to go in like, right, so we'll do a little bit right in here should be good. It's not going to need much. I don't really need to like get it everywhere. All right, and then you're going to need it on the palm. Oh, look, he's got fingerprints that are going to be, see those? That are going to be gripping the club. So we're not even going to see them. That's cool. I love some of that too. Like when you build these, I don't know if it's just the modelers having extra time or just it's not realistically any extra effort when they're already in there doing what they're doing. Oh yeah, I guess you can see that one a little bit. There you go, internet. I bet nobody showed you that in a video on the internet yet. But like they'll fully sculpt a leg that's going to have like armor or cloak draped over it. But they'll still like sculpt essentially like the muscle or the armor underneath that you're not going to see any of, and I just appreciate that. I appreciate that attention to detail because you know that it's there, right? Your opponent might not know that it's there, but the people that designed the model know that it's there. I'll tell you something. Anybody that's a fan of Apple, I know some of you are, and I know some of you I'm sure are not. That's just how the world is. But Steve Jobs' father made furniture. And one of the things he learned from him, and it was kind of like a life lesson for him, was that he would make the back of the furniture, like the back of a dresser that was against a wall that you would never see with the same quality wood and the same attention to detail, the stuff that was on the front, because those details matter, right? Because you know it's there, because you want to do like a quality job. You're not doing like a half-assed job. And so as Apple went along, very early on, they cared about the design of the inside. And it's definitely gotten a lot better these days, ever since some of the probably the Intel MacBooks, everything post PowerBook, really kind of turned up. Like, look around that time when they started doing the MacBook Airs is probably the first one, the first MacBook Air. If you're into this sort of stuff, like legit, go back and watch like the keynote presentations, and they actually really start showing off the inside of the computers, right? Because they care to that level of detail. Say what you want about being open and this, that, and the other thing. That's a choice for you to make. But working for them as long as I did, I can tell you that the intent is there from a genuine love of the product and the consumer experience, not just like some hype machine to try and oversell something, right? Like, oh, let's just see how much we can charge. No, it's not about that. Whoops, that probably goes like this. Yep, boom, like that. I guess I could have looked at it to try and see what I was doing, but boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say way-o, way-o. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say way-o, way-o. Boom, boom, boom. So we don't need a ton of glue on all of these, but let's just get the ones that matter. Okay, so you're going to go, so there is, and since this is wood and kind of rough, if there is extra glue, I mean, I know me, and I'm going to try and clean it up anyway, but it's just going to look like the texture of the wood. And there's some mold lines there that I probably should have cleaned before I start doing this. But it's too late for that now, internets. Do you mind that I call you internet so much? I just say internets. Y'all the internets. You my internet peeps. Alright, so this one's going to go way-o. Come on. And then you're going to go... Oh, let's put the glue on the edges of these. I don't know if you can hear my kids that should be in bed, but they're not. And I don't want you calling child services on me, hearing me yell at my kids, so I'm not going to go yell at them. I don't know. It's supposed to be a joke. You probably think I'm serious. I mean, sometimes they need to get yelled at. Let's be honest. But they're just going to be up and playing. That's fine. They'll just be tired and sleepy in the morning and crabby and give me a hard time, and then we'll leave the house late, and then we'll start the day off wrong, and then I'll be upset, and I'll do a poor job at work, and then I'll take it out on them at dinner time, right? So, this has kind of been a slow build, internet. We've done literally this and cut some throughout, and it's been 23 minutes. But we're just putzing along. I'm not in a rush. I have no idea how long COVID's going to be. If you don't know, internet, I just moved. I used to be up in Vermont. I'm now in North Carolina. Moved south to North Carolina. So I gotta see what the local gaming scene is down here. I don't even know if there's an AOS scene. There is a store not too far, but it looks like they do a lot of 40K. So who knows? Who knows when I'll actually be able to play with this army? So I'm not in a rush. I am kind of like in a rush just from a impatience personal standpoint. Like, I really want to get this guy primed and start seeing some action. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stop this. I'm going to finish this hand in a minute, because what I kind of want to do as well is I wanted to show you a little bit of green stuff in to do some cool kind of like yeah, I don't know why I haven't been using this knife the whole time, just to cut green stuff off instead of using other things I've been using. Garbage can. Wanted to do so see this belt here. I want to do something similar to that belt around the wrist. So I'm going to show you kind of how we go about that. And what's great with the bone grinder as well is we have this as like a great frame of reference right now. So we can just sort of see how that's sculpted And let's take a look at that. When we're trying to sculpt something, if you do have something to reference, especially something that is sculpted, as opposed to like a real object, right? Like if I was trying to make this versus trying to make a sculpt of this, right? I can kind of look and see how they achieve that. So it's really just a band, and then let's look at it. Okay, it's pretty smooth, and then it's just some up and down notches. So we just gotta try to get a square band around it. And then let's look at the belt buckle. All right, we could just end the belt and then make a square, try to cut out the middle, and then put a little belt buckle thing in after. Right, like that's all. I mean, it looks all right, but it's pretty easy to sculpt that. That's not that crazy if you look at it. So as long as you got some tools. So if you've been watching my videos, why don't you take a minute right now to think about what tools you would be using for that and what tools I'm going to use. Is that a fun game? Is that a fun game? Guess the tool I'm going to use? Guess the tool, internet. It's you, Tim. Yes, I am the tool. I am the tool. Let's mix up this green stuff. Let's mix it up. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear say, well, well. You think I'm going to get copyrighted for that? Singing a song? No, I won't. Should I start a reaction channel on all like the 90s hits that I love so much? Listen to some like Mr. President, some Ace of Base, some Real McCoy, some La Bouche. Should we do it? Nope. If we'd roll a 6, I'd start a reaction channel. 6 with a reroll. Oof, so close. Look at the size of these dice. Much excite, internet. Much excite. I'm thinking I might try to build some little. I've seen them. You can buy these bases that have like wound counters built into them. But thinking if I cut a little notch out and then maybe take a 25mm base, try to find some way to glue it in there. So that it can spin. It doesn't even have to be a 25mm base. I'm just trying to think of round things that I have on hand. You know, with like a round thing in your face, you get sprung. You want to pull up top. Notice that butt was stuck deep in the jeans she's wearing. When you're hooked and you can't stop staring. But just something that I can spin around with like a little set of numbers on it, just to have a wound counter in the base. But sometimes it's cool to like build something into the base that's sort of more part of the model. Like maybe I'm going with like a desert theme on these bases. Maybe we'll go with like, we could go with, I don't know, like a cactus or something like that, where you could pull little thorns out or something, like little counters, just something neat like that. Anyway, we're getting distracted. Let's focus on getting this green stuff mixed up. Make it smooth, internet. It should all be the same color. Let's get it done. You can do the fold it in half method. Fold, 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 fold. That's probably the fastest, actually. I should be doing that. I kind of like rolling it and twisting it. I don't know why. But folding is probably the best way to go about it. Right, that looks pretty well mixed. I probably should have stripped this Bone Daddy, but I don't even know if I'm going to strip him. I might just prime over it. Alright, so we're not going to need a ton, but I do want to bulk up his forearm as well, so we're going to use this as like the reference. And before we do, I don't want this crap in the way. Told you we were going to clip that off. Here, let's take his head off here. You know, I didn't even look to see. What does this look like? I mean, I know I said I didn't like this head, but... Oh, I finished the end of the tentacle. You don't see that? So I clipped the metal off, and then I just kind of made... have some ripples going up to the end. Got it pretty smooth. So I think that once that's painted, you're not going to see much of a line there. Getting like that smooth blend, that's like a kind of a pain to do. You really got to fuss with it because if you do it too much, it just starts to break apart and then makes more of a seam. So anyway. All right, so part of trying to get this right, we want this little circle to be about as even as we can get it. Right, I don't want it like tapering off like a little snake. I really want to get it as even as we can. So something like that. Is that going to be enough? Because I want it to be kind of thick. And actually, let's make it, where do we want the buckle? Let's have the buckle on the outside so we can see it. We'll do it something like that. And I want it right up against the magnet. So see what we got there? All right, so I'm gonna use my fingers just because it gives me a little bit more control to try to get it initially even, as close to even as we can. And I'm gonna get it a little closer than I want it because you can see those ends are rounded. I'm gonna push them back to make them square. And then if you said this was one of the tools I was going to use, internet, you're right. You'll notice, like I said, I use almost all the a bunch of the tools the same, or quite often. And then I want this to go over the magnet a little bit. So I'm going to kind of square it off. So since this is like super fresh green stuff, it's really soft. So we can do a lot of work with this. We don't have to press very hard to do this. Can we, what if we put the light back like this? There you go, how's that? It's better for me too. So we're just getting it square. Look at my foot. This is gonna be a weird spot. This is just gonna, you're gonna have to kind of deal with however this goes for a second, because I don't want to bump the foot into the camera and then send you guys shaking. Right. And then we're gonna push up on the sides. So we're gonna go back and forth a little bit, pushing on the sides, pushing on the top, pushing on the sides, pushing on the top, and as we do that, that's when we're gonna get our sharp edge. And I'm not too worried about the depth. I want to kind of bulk it up a little bit because I want his forearm to be like bulked up too. I'm gonna put some, maybe has some skin, maybe just make this all like flesh up to here instead of having this weird little forearm warmer, wrist warmer kind of a thing. I should paint that like neon pink or something, make it like straight out of 80s. Give him some leg warmers. A little Richard Simmons afro. Sweating to the gargants. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to make a playlist of all songs made by They Might Be Giants to play when I play this army. That'll like either really excite people or piss people off. It's Istanbul, I can't stand no one else. Istanbul, I can't stand no one else. Istanbul, I can't stand no one. That's nobody's business but the Turks. Right? This is gonna take a little bit of a while. Internet, while we fuss with it back and forth. But you can see we're getting straighter and straighter. Maybe I can focus on just one part, getting it close to right to show you. All right, I'm gonna try to lift it up a little from the inside, because I want to make it sort of similar to these, right, where we got something where the arm kind of, the hand recesses in a little, so we don't have to worry about a seamless seam. I'm just gonna put this on, boom. We're gonna have to make that a lot bigger actually. So, but that ain't no problem, we can just lift it up. Lift it up. So this tool is great too. When you push it in, I can then do this to lift it up. And it doesn't have to be, again, there's going to be, the hand's going to be in here. We're not going to see that. And then from over here, we're going to be making the wrist come up. So I don't have to worry too much about this bottom part being like really clean or nice. I just kind of want like a crisp edge on the top. And even if it buckles a little as I push it up, something like this, you know, a real belt would buckle like that in the middle depending on where it was pulled. I don't know if there's any example on this guy. No, not really. Push this up. Push this up. Push it forward. All right, we're at 36 minutes, so we're going to cut this here in just a second. So rather than finish this, you guys can see what I'm doing. Let me just show you how we'll go about putting the lines in. We got this tool. Guess what? This is going to be real easy, right? Just like that. And then what we can do is we can kind of like pick a spot, cut into the inside, and then push it back out to really kind of make some of it really cracked. And we can kind of push it back over to tighten it up. See that? Do another one down here just to show you. So we're just going to push it in. And then we push it back. And then once that's kind of cut in there, I can just kind of smooth over the top of it too. And I'm still going to keep a lot of that detail. Right? And then how on earth are we going to ever do something like that, internet? If we look, there's little cracks and stuff coming out of it too. So let's keep that in mind. Let's put one right here. So I'm just going to boop. Right, that was easy. But we want to put a crack in it. We'll just go right where that missed. And then what I can even do too, just to kind of give it some of that frayed look, I can get this pin inside and then lift some of it up. Ready? Boom. So if we do a couple of those and we finish that texture up, we'll be good. So now you've seen how I do that. Now we're at 38 minutes, so I'm going to pause this and then I will catch you tomorrow. We'll see how this ended up once it's cured, and we'll go from there. All right. Kisses, internet.